everyone to the Professionals Conference, where every topic or any topic is catered by the request of the masses. I am Nagila Jr., and for today's conference, we will talk about teachers. Today, we will also be acknowledging teachers, but not conventional ones, but experts in the field. But before that, I would like to talk about teachers first. So, here in the Philippines, a lot of college and teacher education students have enrolled. And at the same time, they are catering or majoring in different fields, such as English and etc. Now, each of these individuals have one goal, which is to help in producing new professionals for the next generation. As we all know, teachers are not just mere molders of students' achievements or dreams. They are more than what a normal person can imagine, especially if they do not know what teachers do and how they manage the community. Furthermore, teachers may also want growth in their profession, in which they would like to have a higher rank and at the same time a higher salary. And in order for them to do that, they need to apply for various promotion criteria in their office. And one of which is a research paper. A research paper is an academic writing where it evaluates, shows gaps, problems, and solutions in an in-depth analysis, recommendations, and arguments. And now, in this conference, we will talk about the teacher's interest to be promoted as a higher rank that urged them to buy a ready-made research. To be able for us to understand about this notion, let me introduce to you to our panelists. We have three panelists, and the first is an English major in the field of education from Cebu Normal University main campus. She took her master's degree in English language at the University of the Philippines, Diliman. And she also holds 2 doctorate degrees in the field of English language and literature. She now teaches both graduate and undergraduate studies in her university and is the former president of Cebu Normal University. A round of applause to Dr. Joyce Bianca Del Socorro. Now, for our second panelist, she graduated magna cum laude at De La Salle University, Manila. Took her master's degree in education in the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and recently graduated with her doctor's degree in education at the University of the Philippines. She is also our research coordinator and advisor at the UPC. In addition, she is the former college dean of the College of Teacher Education in Cebu Normal University and a recipient of being an outstanding professor in the country. A round of applause to Dr. Mea Sendigion. And last but not the least, she graduated as magna cum laude and a recipient of the Best Student Teacher at Philippine Normal University. She took her master's and doctor's degree in education in the University of Santo Tomas. She was the previous principal of the Ateneo de Cebu for 5 consecutive years. Later on, she transferred to teach English language and literature studies to undergraduate students of Cebu Normal University. Currently, she is the Vice President for Academic Affairs and Internationalization of Cebu Normal University. Let's welcome Dr. Mary Grace Iginta. Have shown an excellent performance in the field of education, and they produce over 10 researches and books that they have helped, which have helped the education system of the Philippines. Once again, round of applause to our panelists for today's conference. You may now take your seat, panelists. I know that you already know why we invited you here. There is a post made where it showcases screenshots of teachers, especially public teachers, asking for the prize of a ready-made research. This probes to what extent a teacher may do just to be promoted. Based on your skills and understanding of the situation, what can you say about this, Dr. Yoro?
Thank you for that, Mr. Cadilia. With regard to the issue, I can really say that it's very alarming. It raises several concerns, not just on the ethical standards for Filipino teachers, but also on the impact on students as well. Teachers, If you can remember, the Philippine Teachers Professionalization Act, or also known as the RA 7836, teachers are not called professionals easily. The role of teachers as professionals don't stop after passing the lab or gaining your license. It actually starts there.
Once we are recognized by the law, it is our duty to adhere to these standards, and buying ready-made research papers is a big violation to the ethical standards for Filipino teachers.
That was indeed a good point of her Laura, which she really emphasizes the essence of being a professional teacher. Aside from the idea of Dr. Leora, what can you say or add about it, Dr. Vilsamar?
Thank you so much for your stand, Dr. So to add, buying research or ready-made research paper, we should really remember that this is not only affect their credibility as teachers, but this also affects the educational system that we have. So not only that it will affect their own growth, but also impact students and the trust in the quality of education we have, which is why we must uphold high ethical standards to ensure to remain a strong and trustworthy education.
Indeed, upholding dignity is one of the many. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Leora, Dr. Vilsamar. On the other hand, some netizens mention that the mandate of the Department of Education for producing an action research or AR does not coincide with the availability of the teachers to do so, whereby they are swamped and flooded with workloads, and some of it are not even related to their main job as a teacher or a facilitator of learning. As the VPAAI, what can you say about this, Dr. Higginson?
Okay, so I believe that producing an action research is a prerequisite, especially for teachers teaching in higher educational institutions. As for my background, here at Normal University, we are required to produce action research despite the fact that we are also working on our other responsibilities. I must say that the standing of a university relies on how many researches are produced every year, because in the world university ranking standard, research is one of the facets that has the biggest percentage, which is 30% alongside teaching and citation. Consequently, higher educational institutions often mandate their educators to engage and produce action research to bolster their academic standing. As for the Department of Education, they are requiring their teachers to produce action research for promotion. Hence, it is still the teacher's choice whether or not they will produce action research in order to be promoted. So to answer the question, I agree with what Mr. Padilla just said, that teachers are being overloaded, wherein we are not just teaching anymore. We are also going beyond what we should be doing. And so, however, I reckon that teachers should produce action research in order to contribute to the community and the school success. This does not only benefit the community and the school, but it also helps with the professional development of a teacher. However, on the other hand, educational institutions, especially Department of Education, should provide teachers adequate time and appropriate compensation to recognize or validate their contributions.
Thank you for that, panelist. On the latter's point of view, Senator Gatchalian mentioned that buying ready-made research is unethical and does not show integrity and hard work by the means of being promoted. What is your perspective about this matter, Dr. Leora?
I actually agree with Senator Gatchalian and Mr. Padilla. We have Republic Acts that emphasize the importance of right conduct for teachers as professionals. If their behaviors undermine the professional integrity mandated by the law, then the Professional Education or the Professional Regulation Commission and the Board for Teachers must discipline these teachers who breach the professional standards. However, on the other side, I would like to know why these teachers do such act, or what are the factors that made these teachers buy researches. So I am also calling the attentions on the national levels and those people who are on the national levels to investigate and address
important to look at each side of the situation to better understand and make a proper action. Now, at this juncture, let's open a discussion with the audience today. We are intrigued to know about your questions or how it affects the students, teachers, or the community in general. And as for the open forum, you have the power to share your questions, recommendations, comments, and reactions to the panel series. Any volunteers to go first to ask for the first question? Yes, teacher Kat.
Okay, so this question is entitled for Dr. Delsforo. I believe that Dr. Chalian was correct, and there is a need for integrity in teacher research. Let's say you're a teacher who is struggling in time constraints and feels inadequate due to insufficient training, which considers in buying ready-made research. How do you believe that ed and higher educational institutions can fundamentally shift their approach to better support teachers in overcoming these challenges? Also, it is given, one of you mentioned earlier, that it is important to teachers to have a learning and improve their educational research. Do you think that enhancing pre-service and in-service training can effectively address this issue, such as purchasing ready-made research?
Thank you for that, teacher Cam. So she wants to ask about the panel's opinion concerning the view of a teacher who wants to be promoted, but there are factors that are of a hindrance in making a research paper, so they decided to buy a ready-made research. And thus enhancement of training can effectively address this issue. Dr. Delsforo.
Thank you so much for highlighting that very important issue. So I understand that this type of issue is very rampant nowadays. So as you can see, I understand that those types of issues, as what the participant mentioned, that especially where, let's say for example, teachers have faced a lot of responsibilities in research and their workloads as well as the teachers, that makes ready-made research purchases very tempting, especially with limited time and insufficient training, which is why to address this, DepEd and higher educational institutions should actually focus more on improving pre-service training, such as improving the research skills of a student, especially those students who are taking this basic education degrees or such courses. And not only that, but for service teachers, they should also continually participate or take workshops, seminars, in which this helps them build more confidence. And at the same time, this prevents us from having this type of issue, which is why creating a supportive community that values integrity and professional growth, this actually prevents us from having shortcuts, right? So ultimately, we should focus on how we can actually implement these types of learnings to students or future teachers. And not only that, because they actually learn and at the same time practice and apply what they have learned.
Thank you so much for that, panelist and teacher Cam. I hope that the panelists were able to answer your question while recording. It was a very clear and informative idea about the topic. I could say that there are many factors, tempting ones, that will eat your ego in the benefit that you want. However, we must uphold, as teachers, it is important for us to uphold integrity and show professionalism in the field. Putting in mind that what we are doing is to produce something for the beneficial of all, especially for the educational system of the Philippines. Before ending this discussion, the floor is now open for the audience to freely have a conversation with our panelists. Thus, to our dearest panelists, Dr. Delsforo, Dr. De Oro, and Dr. Ibitlo, we're very grateful to have such experts during the conference today. We have learned a lot about the issue and for instilling the value of a professional teachers. That ends our discussion for the Professionals Conference. I hope that you have learned something today and that you will produce your own material because in making an action research, you know yourself better than anyone else. Thank you and have a great day, teachers.